top-notch service, enhancing productivity and reducing downtime. In the data center, a part of the growing digital document revolution. In the world of business, supporting entrepreneurs and helping companies grow. In the forefront of technology, developing cutting-edge document management solutions. So if you think you know Dex Imaging, you don't know Dex.
Sold, 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 sold. You're getting ready to move and you work hard. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. You need pros. Trained professional moving experts to do the heavy lifting for you. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. They care about your things as much as you do, and they do it fast and right. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. Visit twomeninatruck.com and get moving.
Two Men in a Truck.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY, only $4.99. Plus, DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
Will this be the year you finally get to enjoy Christmas at home? Let the Personal Service Center help you with your presents and goodies. They can gift wrap them, box them up, and ship them out, leaving you more time to enjoy the real meaning of the season. Personal Service Center, corner of Northeast 25th Avenue and 24th Street, 352-789-6683. Look for the yellow signs.
Now you've done it. Have you lost your mind? He's back. And you're listening again. A legend in his own mind. Don't believe me? Just ask him. Here's Tom Schmitz live on WOCA. The Source.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks. On a Wednesday, I would like to extend a very, very big happy birthday wishes to Mayor Kent Gwynn. Today is the mayor's birthday, Galen. So I want to just go reach out and say happy birthday to the mayor.
All right, good. Happy birthday, Mayor.
Yeah. You know, he just was awarded, he just got a national award for being a mayor who is very concerned about his local community on the global stage. And so he just received an award for being the mayor of the year with that concern. So, and that's a concern that everybody has, because whether you like it or not, Galen, whether we want to admit it or not, even in our small community, you need to be globally connected in this day and age.
Well, I mean, we obviously have a pretty large Canadian connection. So,
well, even in business and all, we do a lot of stuff, though. The stuff gets sent all over the world from businesses right here.
Absolutely.
And I know one business that started a power plant business incubator. It's a 3D printing business. They actually make all the batting helmets for the Los Angeles Dodgers right here in Ocala.
And that's international?
Well,
that's pretty cool.
The Los Angeles Dodgers are international. Ask Magic Johnson. He said, Magic Johnson says it's the most recognizable brand sports brand in the world. I believe the New York Yankees and the Dallas Cowboys may have something to say about that. But, you know, what do I know? What do I know?
No. There's a bunch of soccer teams.
Real Madrid, Manchester United, you know, they all may have something to say about that.
Yeah.
You know, what do I know? What do I know? Although I do have the Liverpool game DVR, just so you know.
Oh, congratulations.
So I can go home and watch the Liverpool game at my leisure. You know, let's be honest, and this is a first world problem, but is the DVR one of the best inventions of the 21st century? Can we just go ahead and say it is? Can we just go ahead?
Yeah, there's it's got to be way, way up there. I'm sure there's something that saved somebody's life or something, but it's pretty great. I think what's better. And it one-ups the DVR, but the DVR set the standard. It's just watching anything on stream where there's no commercials.
Where there's no commercials.
Right. I mean, I will pay $2.95 a month or whatever, $9.95 a month, not to watch commercials.
Yeah, what I love is an hour-long show when you stream it because there's no commercials because you pay for the streaming service. They're
Sure.
really just 47 minutes.
Exactly, and again, it cuts out a lot of the. It seems like when there are commercials, they come back and they're like, "Well, you're too dumb to remember where we left off because it's been 7.5 minutes."
So we're gonna do a
go
refresher.
ahead and recap.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god.
The worst
I hate
shows
that.
the worst shows at that are like the 2020s and the Datelines and all.
Oh, my
They
gosh,
take a
you
show that
can
can be
look at
done in
everything.
25 minutes and stretch it for 2 hours. It makes no sense to me.
Right. I'm like, this is one scene. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And back in the day, you couldn't do anything about it. You're like, well, now I got to find out what happened. Yeah, it's the DVR is way up there on the great list.
Well, it for
Way up
sports, it's second to none because you can as long as you shut off all your devices so nobody tells you to score.
Sure.
That's the problem.
Sure. Well, and again, now that everything's streamed, you can go back and you can watch any game you want. And like I'll go back and watch a lot of baseball games, and they have the game in 3 minutes, and I'm like, this is perfect. You can watch an entire baseball game in 3 minutes.
Well, you probably could at
so-
the actual game time. If you take
Right.
out
Well, what they do is they just show the highlights. They don't necessarily even show every run, but it's a game in 3 minutes, and I'm like, this is fantastic.
well, that's like if you could take all the downtime in between snaps and all out. You know how
No, they
long,
do.
You know
They
how
have
long
that.
you know how long the
They have it.
average NFL game in actual game time
Yeah.
where the ball is being moved. You know how long that game is in actual snap. Where it's action being going.
It's
8.5
20
minutes.
minutes.
No, 8.5 minutes. About
Yeah.
8.5 minutes.
Well, they actually do that. You can watch that on the NFL.
Yeah, it's called Red Zone.
NFL.com. No, Red Zone just shows. I mean, there's a lot of downtime in Red Zone. But
Oh yeah, because they
it's in
just
the
showed
background.
touchdowns. That's right. They just showed touchdowns.
Well, they show all the scores, but yeah. But there's still a lot of downtime, especially that afternoon or the 4 o'clock window. But it's a great time to be a sports fan. So as an F1 fan, they'll have races that start at 4 a.m. my time, and I can just wake up and click it, right, and get on the app and watch it whenever I want. And F1 is still small enough that nobody's really talking about it.
Well, that's the beauty of the English Premier League. While it's gained some foothold in America, it still doesn't lead Sports Center and stuff like that. And you can
Correct.
see it in the box score on the scroll that runs at the bottom of the screen sometimes. But the beauty of because we have Peacock, right? It's one of the streaming services, and you can go back and watch any English Premier League game you want to watch. So because they don't put the Liverpool scores up every day and everything, I'm able to go back whenever. Like there was a Liverpool game that played on USA Saturday morning, and it was too early for me. But I went back and watched it Sunday against the Wolves. It was a fantastic game. I watched the entire match. It was fantastic, and I watched it without any commercials. It was, it was great. Even at halftime, when they go to halftime, nope, they went and did 2 minutes of commercials in the streaming service right in the middle. 2 minutes of commercials, came right back with the second half, ready to go. No halftime reports. No, got to hear some talking head bloviate for 20 minutes about what's going on around the league. It was just the game, and I love that.
Well, what's great about F1 there are no commercials. Once a race starts, there are no commercials. There's no race, no commercials at all. So they never break away from the action, which I think is brilliant.
Well, soccer does that because it's just 45 minutes of just
Right.
running around
Right.
and kicking a ball. So
And again, I think I really believe that Major League Baseball, they have the innings, so it's kind of a natural break. But if you look, even those have become much, much shorter.
Well,
And I think football is going to adapt that.
the only
They're
sport,
going to have to.
and all sports have gotten you so in tune to that you're taking a commercial break, but none more so than college basketball. Because you got you got the under 16 break, the under 12 break, the under 8 break, the under 4 break. you have those four plus the timeouts. Right. Of course they do.
Yeah.
They use them as timeouts.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
They know that a break's coming. They know anytime a dead ball after that 16-minute, you get to 15:59 and a half, you know that the next dead ball is a television timeout. So coaches actually coach and use those as timeouts. And by the way, if you're going to give me the opportunity to do that as a coach, I'm taking it.
Oh, of course. Of course.
So let's talk a little bit college basketball right now. I know that college basketball season really doesn't get started until January when the conference play begins. But I would be remiss if I didn't talk about this. An undefeated Florida team taking on a defeated Texas Southern team. Texas Southern not won a basketball game all year. Florida had not lost a basketball game all year. Texas Southern blows Florida out by 20 at Florida. I mean, somebody said it's the equivalent of Georgia Southern beating Florida. No, it's not. It's the equivalent of Vanguard beating Florida.
No, Vanguard may not win another game this year.
No, I'm talking about Vanguard football beating Florida in football.
Oh, sure.
Texas Southern winning by 20 points at Florida when they hadn't won a basketball game all year.
I haven't watched any of the game. I don't know if they had some guys hurt or what, but I will tell you this is a very, very old team, and this team's not going to get any better throughout the year because they don't have any young talent that they have to develop.
It almost looked like Florida.
Transfer portals guys.
It all looked like Florida had slept through. It looked like that they thought that we'll just walk through Texas Southern. They're no big deal. They hadn't won a game all year. And all of a sudden they got punched in the mouth and didn't know how to come back from being punched in the mouth. And Texas Southern just thoroughly whooped them. And I know people say, there may have been some, they lost to Oklahoma, so they weren't undefeated. My bad. Florida had one loss to Oklahoma. But the point is, they shouldn't have lost to a team that hadn't won named Texas Southern, and they shouldn't have lost by 20.
I agree.
By 20.
But Mike White is going to get out-coached the majority of the time. He just is. He obviously didn't have his guys ready to go because their backup should have been able to win that game.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, crazy. I don't know. I'm not a fan of this basketball, the Gator basketball team.
But
I think Florida State, even though they lost to Florida, will be better than them by the end of the year.
Oh yeah, of course.
Hamilton's a better coach.
Well, they're in a better conference too. The ACC is the SEC of basketball.
Yeah, the SEC's way down this year too.
Right.
I mean, Kentucky will be there. Well, and if you break it down again, I think we talked about this already. Auburn is a better basketball team. I think Florida's the fourth best team in the SEC in basketball. I just do. So, yeah, and maybe those everything's coming home to roost.
Well, it brings up the question, and it's Mike White underperformed as the coach. Come from Louisiana Tech, was supposed to be the next Billy Donovan, hired by Strickland. Dan Mullen, guy coming back home to relive his glory years of where he was the offensive coordinator for 2 national championships, and he was going to prove to everybody that Urban Meyer was a very good manager of coaches, but that it was his offense that won national championships. Well, Dan Mullen's now fired. When do we start saying, hey, Strickland, your hiring practices maybe need to be called into question? When does that happen?
Well,
is it going to take? Is this hiring you just did, Bill Napier? Is this the watershed moment for Strickland? Either this guy wins and you solidify yourself as the AD, or this guy doesn't win and you're out of a job too.
Well, and let's not forget that he's having some major problems internally with some potential lawsuits, and there's a lot going on behind the scenes within that program, within that athletic director, that athletic association. So there's a whole lot more to behind the scenes.
I just think everybody talks about how Dan Mullen couldn't win, and when do you start saying maybe Strickland has some culpability here in his hiring practices?
look at the women's basketball coach, right?
Yeah.
There's all kinds of a scandal going on there. There's a lot of problems. Within that. Yeah. I guess it's the former women's coach. But
Right, former
the
women's
toxic
coach.
culture that they had, and he knew about it and didn't really respond very quickly. He's got some problems, so I'm not a fan. There's no reason for anybody to be a fan of him. He hasn't done anything.
He really hasn't. He's made 2 mediocre hires at best. At best.
Mediocre. I don't know how you call either one of them mediocre.
Well,
Well, Mike White has been below average, and we'll see what happens with Bill Napier. But I guess if you're going to give him, you're going to give a mediocre, to a guy they fired after they just signed him to a huge extension. Something fell apart there, right?
somehow Dan Mullen lost that entire football program.
Well, I could tell you where he lost. I think he really lost it with the press conference.
He was
I said
horrible.
it when it happened.
He was terrible in that press conference. Terrible.
And that's huge. It's huge.
I think that eventually you just got to start saying the buck stops with Strickland, and when are we going to start questioning his ability?
Oh, I
as
think they
athletic
already
director?
are. But again, it depends on what the University of Florida wants to be. Do they care about athletics anymore? Or did they use athletics to transform them into the top 5 public schools, and now they're like, look, academics are far more important now than athletics.
Yeah, well, say that all you want, and then all these people who give you money, these bull gators, when you start losing, stop giving you money, and now you're what are you doing with your 5th best public school now, pal?
Well, it depends on what Dr. Fooch, I can never say that guy's name, wants. What does he want the program to be? Again, they're making a whole lot more money on research now than they are on athletics. All the glitz and the glamour is in the athletics, but all the real money comes from this research that they're doing.
I know athletics is a $1 billion industry.
Not for the University of Florida. I get definitely not profit-wise. I mean, it's incredibly expensive to run at that high of a program, and it's put University of Florida on the map. I'm not taking that away from them. My comment is do they want that in the future, or do they want to be known as a serious academic institution?
And by the way, all the Florida fans out there that are yelling at the radio,
Miami's in the same situation.
But they're a private school.
University of Miami's going through.
But it's different. It's
Right.
private school. Florida's
Sure.
not a private school. People say Florida's trying to be like Duke and Vanderbilt and Miami. They'll never be Duke, Vanderbilt, and Miami because they're not a private school.
But again, they want to be more of a Stanford.
But
They want to be more of
but here's the thing.
an Ivy League type.
That's
school.
the administration
Georgia
wants
Tech.
to, the administration wants that. They're Florida fans
Okay.
right now driving down the interstate that goes, "You guys are morons. Who gives a damn about academics? We want our teams to do
Hey.
well."
Again, this is a real, and by the way, this same issue is happening in high schools all over America. Talk to a coach who had coached at a really prominent basketball team for over 20 years, and he left to take a job at IMG, and he said, I just couldn't take administration fighting me on every single thing. He said, I just want to coach basketball, and I want to make the program successful. Administrations, and this happens locally in our own county every day, do not support athletics the way they did 10 years ago, definitely not 20 years ago, and definitely not 30 years ago when I was there.
No, I talked to a
Athletics
coach.
is dying.
I talked to a coach
Athletics is
recently.
dying.
I talked to a coach recently here in town that his
Participation is way down.
biggest complaint was they fight me every time I try to get kids out of class to go to a game.
That's
They
correct.
fight me every time. And when
That's
I was
correct.
when I was in high school, on game day, class. Look, let's be honest. On game day, you could make up class on Monday. Don't worry about class today. It's Friday. It's game day. But that's 40 years ago, 35 years ago. Now This coach, I talked to this coach 2 weeks ago about this. The week before I went to the hospital, we had a conversation. He said his biggest complaint about coaching is the constant fight he has with the administration on getting kids out. And he's like, they're complaining about, I want the kid out at 1:45, and they're like, no, 2 o'clock. And they're at him at about 15 minutes.
Well, and it's to the point now where you cannot schedule a game where you're going to have to pull the kid out unless it's on a Saturday, right? So any travel game, unless it's a district game where they have to play it, but those games where coaches just pick up because they want to play them, they have to be done on a Saturday if they're out of county.
Yeah.
Because in county, you can't leave. They won't release the buses. They won't release them from school. Again, I've said this. I've talked to administrators about it. My grandkids will not play high school sports.
There won't be high school sports.
That's correct.
It'll be club sports and travel ball. That's it.
It'll be like bowling is now, right? Where it's a club sport and you have a teacher who's over it, right? But administrators don't have to be there. And so that's part of the big problem for these people is for every game you have to have an administrator there.
Youth league football.
If it's a sanction.
Youth league football is the future of where you'll see 16, 17, and 18-year-old college prospects
Absolutely.
playing football.
And
You will not see it in
already.
high school.
That's correct.
Within 20, 25
That's
years,
correct.
there will not be high school sports as we know it.
So you look at the coaches in the county and how they fight to get kids out there. That's only going to get harder. It's more and more kids play soccer and things like that, where they still have to have administrators on site.
You're going to see more things like
but
IMG
you don't
pop
have
up.
the.
You're going to have to see more schools like
Well, you already
IMG pop
are.
up. Yeah.
Have you? I was at the campus of IMG on Saturday. They're booming. They're getting more. Their enrollment's going up. Your places like Mount Vernon.
And let me
Here
remind
locally,
people.
Trinity. All
yeah.
of those kinds of things.
Bowls
are
up in
blowing
Jacksonville.
up.
Yeah. Let me
Sure.
remind people that don't realize when we say IMG Academy, and you always hear, you're listening to the Learfield, IMG, Florida Gator Network, and everything like that. We're talking about Nick Bollettieri's tennis school. That's what we're talking about, folks.
You do know there's a connection.
Well, that was the original IMG, where IMG is and all. The original one, that place morphed from Nick Bollettieri's tennis school. That's what IMG morphed from.
That's exactly right. But the IMG, the representation of IMG started with the tennis players.
Right.
And it's just boom.
Exactly. It was all
they're-
tied
they're-
into Nick
They're all
Bollettieri.
connected.
Jennifer
That's
Capriati's coach, Andre Agassi's coach.
That's correct. That's exactly right. I shared the story of how Jennifer Capriati changed tennis because she came up as a kid, when that had never happened. She was
15. She was in the semifinals at 15.
Yeah. Right. Changed the game.
And then she
Changed the game.
Then she found drugs, and we know how that ended.
Well, Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Between her,
but by the
between
way,
her and a
tennis-
knife-wielding
tennis-
German fan, it cost us two good
That's
tennis
correct.
players.
That's right. Well, and again, it now at the age of 25, 27, I mean, Serena is the
Done.
Is the
Oh,
outlier
yeah.
for that.
Yeah, if you're 25 years old, you're too old to play tennis.
On the female side,
It's
on
like
the male
it's
side,
like
you're
the
just hitting your stride.
it's like the college gymnastics. If you're on your college gymnastics team, you're too old to be in the Olympics.
Oh, that's absolutely right. Yeah.
You just are.
Yeah.
You just are. So,
It's crazy.
Galen, do you and your family, with about 2 minutes to go, you and your family do the go out and see the blockbuster movie that's released on Christmas Day deal? Do y'all do that?
No.
Yeah, I don't either, but I found out it is the single, besides the summer blockbuster, whichever week they decide to do that the Christmas Day movie release is the single most money day in all of Hollywood. I'm not going to a movie.
Lonely people.
I guess I would go now to Epic because they serve alcohol. Epic has lazy
Epic
boys
all.
that serve alcohol, so I may actually
There's
go
a
on
lot
a
of-
Christmas Day now.
A lot of lonely people out there that empty nesters or whatever, and they're just trying to fill the day.
So
How many times can you watch
The Christmas story. Yeah. So we asked this question. I'm going to ask you as we wrap up this segment. Earlier this week, Joe Martone and I were on the radio, and we said, take out the classics. It's a Wonderful Life, Miracle on 34th Street, and The Christmas Story. What's your go-to Christmas movie after those three are taken out?
National Lampoon.
Yeah, Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
Great.
Christmas
Mine is Home Alone,
Fun.
Mine's Home Alone, but I understand Christmas Vacation, with the cat getting electrocuted and everything. I get that. I was surprised at how many people said Die Hard.
Yeah, I don't think it's a Christmas movie. For me, Wonderful Life is the best.
Without a doubt. We're going to see it at the Ocala Civic Theater on Sunday, Susan and I. It's on stage at the Ocala Civic Theater Sunday. I DVR'd it off NBC because NBC played it 3 weeks before they should have. So I DVR'd it,
You could find it on all kinds of streaming channels.
Right. Hey, Galen, go ahead, real quick.
No, go ahead. Nope, we're good.
Where's the Bloodmobile today, Galen?
Hey, Bloodmobile today, we're actually at the Publix out in Bellevue again. So come see us there, and as always, right there on the boulevard. Lightsouth.org. Check us out.
We need to get you to the Pearl Britton Plaza Publix, the brand new one that just opened there. We need to get you out there. That's,
We go there all the time.
Nice
I
one.
appreciate
Nice one. Nice one. Galen, as he does every day, joins us from Life South. Galen, talk to you tomorrow.
All right, bye, all.
We'll be back after this timeout. You're listening to 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
The House on Tuesday